friends, so today I'm going to be showing you my August favourites and updates on products I've been testing that you will have seen me probably using on this channel, and I've promised you updates for them because I've been testing them throughout the month. Lots of goodies from this month, mostly makeup, but a little bit of perfume and some skincare, including a device. So lots to show you that I've really been enjoying this month. So let's get straight into it. I'm wearing everything that is my favourite right now, and I'll be showing you exactly why these are my favourites. And if you're new here, hi, my name's Hannah, I'm 47, I'm not a professional, just somebody who really loves makeup and beauty. And here on my channel, I like to show you my favourite looks, chat about beauty, review the latest products, anything I think that might interest you. Please do like and subscribe if you think that you would enjoy this sort of content. I do upload here at least twice a week, if not more. And if you're already subscribed, welcome back, and I really do appreciate every single one of you so very much. And my skin tone, if that's helpful to you, I've got fair to light skin with neutral, slightly cool undertones, and I've got combination skin with a slightly oily T-zone. Anyway, that's enough about me, let's get on with this video. So the first thing I wanted to show you, I wasn't going to include this, but I actually put an advert out yesterday because they have an increased discount for the gels. So I was actually going to make a video for this, and I still will. I don't know if it's going to be just a short video or a long, I'm not sure, but I will definitely be making a video because I have filmed my before and I haven't filmed my after. But this is the Zip Halo. I've been using this now for over 2 months. I was lucky enough to be sent this, but let me tell you, I have been a fan of the Current Body devices way before I even started my channel. I've been using their LED devices, the face mask and the neck mask over the last 2 years, virtually daily. And I've switched to using just this pretty much in the last 2 months, and I have had such good results from this. If you're not familiar with the Zip Halo, this is a special device that has micro and nano currents. I think it's the only one on the actual market right now that has both of those. And it tightens and firms and lifts as you apply it. It's got an app that you download, and on the app there's lots of different exercises you can do. You follow along, super easy. As soon as you turn the device on, it links with the actual program you've chosen to do, so that it will tell the device exactly what to do on your face, and then you just follow their very simple diagram. But if you don't want to use the app, it's got a built-in program, which is their most popular program called The Lift. That's a 4-minute program. So for instance, when I go on holiday, I'll be taking this with me, not using the app, even though it is on my phone should I need to. But just for simplicity, I'll just be turning it on and going straight into my 4-minute Lift program, which I'm so familiar with after 2 months. But what I just wanted to say about this, rather than going into great depth about it, because as I said, I will do a proper review, I just wanted to tell you, because of this offer I was given, I've got an exclusive 25% discount on the gels, which runs out on Wednesday. I'm hoping to get this out to you today on the Tuesday. So I just wanted to mention that because it only lasts until Wednesday. But I do have a 10% discount for the entire website for the whole year, and I also have a 10% discount on this, which you can use at any point. So I just wanted to let you know about that. But this has been so fantastic. Nothing has made my skin feel this firm, this lifted, this healthy. I've had no problems at all, despite going up in my tretinoin. I really feel that this is the reason, because every time I rub any sort of skin cream in, or even a cleanser, I just feel firmness and smoothness. And I honestly think I've got the best skin ever. Now I know increasing my tretinoin was definitely a big part of that, but I did that last year and I definitely did not get those effects. In fact, I had to come off tretinoin because my skin was getting unhappy. But this year I've gone up in tretinoin and then introduced this, and my skin is just, I mean, I'm covered in makeup, so I'm not going to say this is my skin. As we both know, it's very much improved by makeup. But I have got the healthiest skin, and if anyone's watched my channel, you will have seen me before I put makeup on, and I definitely feel my skin is more glowing. It's definitely more balanced in colour, but most importantly, it feels lifted here and here, and around the eyebrow area. You can see a lift actually on the day you do it, not massively. Some people I think see a big lift because they already have very high brows. I don't. But when you do the lift here and you sort of pull up and hold, you can actually see a bit of a lift almost instantly. So I love to use this every single morning before I do my makeup. I only take a couple of days off from using it. It's so easy, no pain whatsoever. Anyway, I had to show you this because It is the best device I've ever tried, bar none. Absolutely love this one. So it is linked for you below, and I do have those discount codes if that's helpful to you. But honestly, absolutely love these. And I also highly recommend the Current Body LED face and neck masks, because they are also phenomenal. Right, now let's move on to makeup, and we're looking at primer. This is the only primer I've tested this month, and this one is from Meritt. I love this one. This is a priming moisturiser basically, which is what I love. I love to use moisturisers as my primer or a very moisturising primer, and I already knew that I loved the oil, so I had to try this. I still haven't tried it with the oil, so I really do need to do that to tell you, because it does say you get double the benefits. So I will do that, and I will let you know how I get on with that. But I got this quite late towards the end of the month, but I can tell you I've used this the most since I've got it. I've used it pretty much every day, and it's gone with every single foundation that I've used. It's gone beautifully. Everything is sat beautifully. So for me, this is perfect. I love what this does for my skin. It does have a slightly strange smell. It's like a strong sort of soap. I don't know, like an unfragranced soap, which I don't like. But you don't notice the smell as soon as it's rubbed in, so that's the only negative, but really love this one. So I've tried out a few foundations this month, and I'm wearing my favourite one. Let's see if you can guess. If you want to stop and pause and guess at any point, I would love to hear your guesses throughout this video. But which one do you think I'm wearing out of all the ones you've seen me try? Here's two of them, and this one is the Too Faced Born This Way, and this one is the IT Cosmetics Natural Matte. Now with the IT Cosmetics, I'm a massive fan of the original CC cream, and I have actually tried these side by side. If you look through my shorts videos, I have actually uploaded a video of me trying them side by side, and I think I still prefer the original a little bit, but I have to say that if you like a natural matte finish, this one is as good. And what I love about IT Cosmetics foundations is they seem to work on me no matter what sort of skin problems I've got. If I've got dry skin, if I've got oily skin, if I've got irritated skin, if things aren't working on me, this is always such a reliable foundation. Well, certainly the original one. I can't say this one because obviously I've only used it a few times this month, but the original one, absolutely love it for that. And I love the fact they have so much SPF in as a top up. So I do like to use these ones when it's summer, but they're perfect all year round. So I have loved this, but I still slightly prefer the original. And it is very flattering on mature skin, and it's got great longevity. So there's just nothing bad I can say about this foundation. If you like a natural matte, highly recommend it. Beautiful. So the Born This Way foundation, if you saw my review, I did have quite a lot of issues with this one. It seemed to disagree with so many things, like the primer underneath, without primer, with certain moisturisers, didn't like certain things going on top. So many issues. I did eventually get this to work with just moisturiser underneath, definitely no primer of any sort underneath this one. If you get this one, I would recommend just using a very moisturising cream, nothing else, and don't over powder, and go extremely lightly with it, because if you go too heavy it looks cakey and horrible, and it just seemed to disappear. So a very light application of this only on top of moisturiser was the only way I could get this to work. And when it does work, it does look really good, but I'm not going to say this is a really big hit this month for me because of how fussy it was for me. I had lots of problems with it. So you may not, but that's certainly been my experience. So if you're looking for a soft matte, I would definitely go with the IT Cosmetics I've just showed you over this one, to be honest. And the other foundation I've tried this month is the Dior Stick Foundation. And if you haven't already guessed, that is the one I am wearing. And let me tell you, this is the one I've been wearing pretty much all month when I'm not testing other ones, because if I want to reach for a foundation, the only one I want to reach for, not just this month, but out of my whole collection right now, is this one. I absolutely adore these. I love the packaging, but most importantly, I love the formula. I'm showing you two because I picked up two shades because I wasn't sure exactly if I'd need a winter and a summer shade. So I've got 1N and 0N. But I've actually found that using these together is so good. You can actually get away with this as a concealer. I wouldn't say it's as good as using some of my top concealers, but if you're looking for a light concealer, this works as a concealer. It sets, it doesn't cake up, and it lasts all day. So it does work as light coverage concealer absolutely perfectly. But what I like to use the light one for, because I do think 1N is my shade, even for winter. So I've been using it pretty much all over the face. And then normally I go in with a dark concealer under the eye to correct, but then I go in with a brightening concealer in different places, like here, 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 down the nose and on the chin, and I like to go into the contour line there. But I've been using the lighter foundation instead, and it just works so well for this brightening purpose. So I'm really glad I picked up both. Not that you need to, but if like me you did do that, that's definitely one of the ways you can use it. So this works in every single way for me, and it lasts all day. I feel like my skin looks perfect from the minute I apply it till when I go to bed. Even if that reaches the 10-11 hour mark, I still think this looks perfect. It's one of the easiest to blend foundations I've ever tried. I can just do my face in a flash. And I'm going on holiday next week, and I'm definitely taking these with me because it is absolutely beautiful. I love the smell. It's got that faint Dior smell, which I love. It's so complementary to mature skin. It just doesn't cake up at all. It is absolutely perfect. So 100% saying that this is a favourite for this month, if not the whole year. Love it. So I have actually tested out a few concealers towards the end of the month, so they will be coming up in my September review, but this is the only one I've tested out more throughout the month, so I can give you a full sort of review on this one, and that is the Raban Concealer. Now this one, it comes in this tube with a very flat doe foot. This is actually a beautiful concealer. It is quite lightweight, and I don't think you could expect more than medium coverage with this. But this one, like so many coming out at the moment, is like a skin cream serum. It just absorbs instantly into the under eye. Hardly any work whatsoever. No caking, no settling into fine lines. Extremely mature skin friendly. The only thing I'd say is if you're looking for medium to full coverage, this won't be the one you want to use. But if you're happy with light to medium from your concealer, I think you would absolutely love this. I've tried it over different with powders, with cream foundations. I've tried it all over the face for brightening, not the whole face, sorry, but for brightening in all the areas that I said to you earlier I like to brighten, and it just molds straight into every single foundation I've worn it with. I'm wearing this one today. I think this is a fabulous concealer. So if you're looking for a lightweight option, highly recommend this, and it's definitely mature skin friendly. And setting powders, so this month I've tested out the Tom Ford Architecture, sorry, look at the mess on that, on my fingerprints, but I've used this a lot. This is the Soft Matte, I think it's called, yes, Soft Matte Blurring Powder, and I've got mine in the shade 01 Alabaster Nude, and I've been testing this one from Too Faced. This is the Soft Blur Powder, and this is in the shade Light. So I'll show you the Too Faced one. I love the fact that it's in a heart. I got this one to try out with the foundation. This actually works perfectly with that foundation. So it is a fussy foundation, but it loves this one. And this powder seems to work well with every foundation I've tried it with. So this one, I don't really see the colour too much. I think it could be a tiny bit lighter. If I show you the Tom Ford, so there it is side by side with the Tom Ford. For me, the Tom Ford is more my perfect sort of shade if I'm not going for a sort of translucent powder. So these ones have both got a bit of colour in, but for me, for my skin tone, I think this one is a little bit better, because anything that goes up from this starts to look a bit cakey on my skin and very makeup-y, but I can just about get away with this. But what I can't do is use this one under the eyes. So I actually tested this one out as well, side by side alongside the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush powder. Somebody asked me to compare the two, and it was very similar, but I still think there's a bit more of a blurring effect from the Charlotte Tilbury compared to this. So this is okay, but definitely not a favourite. So now on to the Tom Ford. Now this one cost over £80, so it's an absolutely crazy price. It does come with a brush. Here it is. I've never used it, but it could be used for top-ups. I say I've never used it, but clearly I've tried it once because I've left makeup on it. Anyway, could be used for top-ups, but I have used this one an awful lot, and this is the one I'm wearing today. So this is probably one of the only slightly coloured pressed powders that I've been able to use under the eye, apart from the Pat McGrath and the Givenchy. So this one is perfect for me under the eye. I've got this one on right now, and it absolutely sits beautifully under the eyes. It does blur. One thing I would say is it's quite a heavy powder in the way it looks on your face, so you need to apply this very lightly. So when you put it under the eyes, I use a puff and I tap off and make sure it's just a light bit and then put under the eyes, and you are set for the day. Blurred, set, perfected, stunning. And then for the rest of the face, I like to use a big fluffy brush. In fact, I've been using this one from, not from Meritt, why did I say Meritt? Refa. This is, I think it's their bronzer brush. This is number 22, but honestly, this brush, I have used this brush so much over the last month for bronzer and for powders. So I just like to tap in, not swirl, and just keep tapping and pressing it in. So I can show you now, just going like this. So I know I'm getting the tiniest little bit instead of swirling it round and getting way too much. And for me, this powder needs to be applied like that. So just build it up very lightly with a tiny little bit on a big brush, and that gives you the perfect application. It is exceptionally blurring. So if you're looking for a very expensive, a very fancy powder, I think this one, nobody's looking for expensive, are they? But if you're prepared to pay this, I do think it's massively overpriced in all honesty, but I think it is beautiful. So it does everything it promises, put it that way. It lives up to the hype. But has it replaced my Givenchy? And the answer to that is no. I've got the pressed Givenchy, this one, which I've been using since it launched. I've reviewed this here on my channel before, but I wanted to mention with this one that this one is actually in the new formula. This is pressed powder, but the new formula, talc free, this one, and it doesn't have any shine. So everyone, including me, were very upset because the Givenchy powders are coming out so shiny, the new formula. If I just show you the back of my hand, you won't pick up on any shine on the back of my hand from that. So I don't know, I think it's because actually I did hear that this shade, which is the pastel shade, they haven't added that shimmer, whereas they have added shimmer in the newly reformulated Givenchy to some of the shades, including shade 3, which is the most popular shade. So this in the new formula is absolutely perfect, and it's my current favourite for everything. So has the Tom Ford beaten this? Absolutely not. So if you've got this, or the old Givenchy in loose or in pressed, and the old pressed formula with talc, by the way, is still perfect, and you can still buy those in all shades. So if you're worried about the Givenchy and you're a big fan of the loose, you can pick up all of the pressed powders in the old formula. This one is only in the new formula because it came out very recently with this design. But if you want to go for the ones in the old formula, just with the old packaging, you can at the moment on the Givenchy website pick up every single shade in the old formula in pressed formula in format. And I find the pressed is as good as, if not better, than the loose. So just a tip for you there if you're a Givenchy fan. So anyway, completely went off topic from Tom Ford then, but yeah, it hasn't replaced that. But I think what I would probably like this for the most, I probably prefer to use the Givenchy under the eyes because it's a bit more brightening, but this is pretty brightening, don't get me wrong, it is. But I think for my skin tone, I like a little bit more of a brightening, lighter shade. If this was in a very light shade, it would probably do that job for me perfectly. What I like this probably the most for is a finishing powder. So during the day when I think I need a top up or I've got a bit of oil coming through, instead of going in with a setting powder, a loose setting powder, I've been choosing this as more of a finishing powder, which it's perfect for. So for top ups during the day is the reason I would use that, and that's exactly what I'll be using it for. Onto another product I am wearing today, and I can tell you I think I've worn this every single day since I got it, and I got this just towards the end of July as far as I can remember, so it didn't make it into my July favourites because it came in so late, and that was the Dior release with the stick foundation, and this is the Stick Contour. I absolutely adore this one. I got this in the lightest shade. It comes in exactly the same packaging as the foundation, it just has this matte finish instead of shiny, and it has the black Dior sign instead of the silver. I'll just show you the difference. That's the foundation and this one is the contour. And you turn one turn, and I haven't had to use hardly any of this, but even down the nose, I'm finding it just so easy to position it and to use it everywhere. So I've been using this in all my contour areas literally every single day. I think this is a perfect shade for my skin tone for contour. It really is, the light one. I do know that shade 2 and 4 I think are super warm shades, but if you're looking for a contour shade and you've got my skin tone, the lightest one is a perfect contour shade. And I try and put quite a bit of this on, so I slightly spread it out, so I'm actually using less bronzing powder because of this. I absolutely love it. It's perfect. I've got a few contours that I sort of go through during the whole year, and I keep them on my desk here, and I haven't been reaching for them at all. I just want to use this one constantly, and I can imagine when I start to run out, I'll just want to replace it and keep using it. It's going to take a lot for me to even go back to my other favourites because this one is so perfect. So now on to blusher, and as every month I think this year there have been a ridiculous amount of blushers coming out, and there's been another liquid blusher, hopefully the last, because I'm genuinely fed up with liquid blushers now. I do love them, but there's just so many. I don't want any more in my collection, to be honest. But this one is the one from YSL. Now if you saw my review of this, you'll see that I found this a bit tricky. It did actually remove my foundation and it didn't blend out that beautifully, but that was until I put powder down, and when I put this on top of powder, it was perfect. I found it was a lot better if I didn't go, either put a tiny bit on, actually saying that, a tiny bit on the face with the actual doe foot. I'll show you the doe foot now. Or put it onto the back of your hand, rub the brush into it and apply that way. But you do need to work fast with this one because it's got a real dry down. It's not remotely sticky and it dries down quite fast. So I would never do both cheeks, always do one at a time. But I did really like it on top of powder, I just did not like it underneath. And I have tried it since on top of some foundations, and some of them it works. Most of them actually have been better. I think the key with this is not to put too much on. You do need to go lightly and to work quickly, and don't dot both sides of the face, just one at a time. So I have got this to work on top of foundation, but it's always bugged me that the first time I tried it, it actually removed the foundation underneath. So for me, the best way for me to use it is actually on top of powder. So for that reason, it's not a favourite, because ones like the Armani one, they're so flexible. I can use them in any way. I've never had any issues on any types of makeup, whether it's foundation, skin tint, powder. So these ones are a little bit more finicky for me. But ones on top of powder, absolutely stunning, and they last all day. Really, really lovely. So I do like these, and I think I did a shorts video. I'm trying to remember now if I've released it yet, but I think I did, with this one using the NARS light reflecting blush. I think that's what it's called. And I thought this with the NARS blush together was a beautiful combination. So have a look up through my shorts. I think that might be there. I'm pretty certain it is. So I also tested these cream blush and highlighter duos out from Rabanne. So the packaging on this is absolutely stunning. Covered in my fingerprints, sorry. And these are the two different shades I got for this. Now, I thought that the blushes on here, on these, were phenomenal. They blended in so quickly, so easily, so beautifully. Really, really stunning, actually. And they have a dry down that's not quite as fast as the YSL, but they definitely have a dry down. You do not need to powder on top of these. So you get a bit of a natural glow with these. Not overly glowy, though. I really love them. The only thing I would say is these highlighters that come with it, they don't actually do an awful lot, and they're just not light enough for me to think they're giving me any sort of highlight. I'll show you what I mean. You can see it there, but what it does is it sort of changes the colour. So if you think that this is a bit too bright, the way I would view this, rather than thinking of it as a highlighter, I would think of it as a sort of coloured glow that you're adding that slightly brings this down from being a brighter pink and brings it down more. Actually, I'll show you on my hand. So here's the blush. This is the shade Incompatibles, by the way. And then here it is now when I put the highlighter over it. So you can see what it's done there is it's just, so it almost mutes it and changes it, which, because I think that's quite effective, I think that's how to think of these rather than thinking of it as a highlighter. So it's an optional change of colour almost. I don't think I would use this one ever as a blush. So I would, if you get these, I would think of it as this is your blush alone, or you change it to this colour. So I think they're stunning, actually. I really like how compact they are. I think they're very different and very pretty. I will definitely be reaching for these again. I wouldn't say they're my #1 blush, but we have had some exceptional blushes which are coming up now. But I've loved these, I really have loved these. So now on to Chanel. So Chanel launched 2 blushes with their autumn fall release, and these are the 2 of them. I've tried out both of these on my channel. I've got a full review of the Chanel Winter Autumn release. You'll be able to see that in full. So this one is the shade Blood Orange and this one is Lavender. So the lavender came as quite as a big surprise for me, because when you first try it on, even on my skin tone, you don't see it an awful lot. So the way I was using that was by adding a deeper blush at the top and having a sort of ombre effect, and I think it works really nicely for that. But what I've actually used this for so much since I've got it is for changing the finish on a blush. So if I go in with a very bright blush, such as that pink YSL one I just showed you, that is quite a powerful pink, the YSL, they're very pigmented. And if you want to just bring it down a notch, this will give you a sort of matte finish and it will bring down the colour. It's perfect for that. It changes the colour, a bit like I just showed you with the highlights with the Rabanne. So this has become an actual staple. It's been on my desk every day since it arrived, and I don't think it will ever leave my desk. And it's made me enjoy it so much that I think I now need something like this on my desk permanently, because it is such a good, useful blush. Like, you know when you sometimes over apply and you just don't necessarily like the way it looks, it'll give you that rescue effect, but also it just changes the way certain blushes look and turns them into a slightly different, softer shade, which I really enjoy. And in fact, I've quite enjoyed doing it, bizarrely, even though you wouldn't think these go on top of this orange. So this orange is a lovely shade. I do really like this one. I'll just show you how this one looks on the back of my hand. It's quite a pigmented blush for Chanel. And here is the lavender, which you're not going to really see much. So you can see how light it is. But let me show you the blood orange now if I swatch across with the lavender. And you'll see how it just completely changes and softens the colour. There. Can you see how it's done that? And it actually makes it almost prettier. And even though they're both matte, I think the lavender, because it's so bright, it gives almost like a bit of a natural glow. So that has been a huge surprise, So they are both big winners for me. I do think the blood orange is a little bit more summer appropriate. I know it looks a bit sort of pumpkin and autumnal, but I think it needed to be a little bit darker and maybe a bit more slightly brown orange to be really autumn appropriate, because I think this looks a bit summery. Like when you see on the back of my hand, I just think it's a little bit summery. But that's the only complaint I would have. But the lavender, absolutely love it, and I really didn't think I would like it that much. And the other blush release that came out was this one, this beautiful blush duo from Dior. So I picked up, I think in the end I picked up all of them. In my actual review of this, I didn't show this one because I didn't buy it. I thought it'd be too deep for me. And this one I did try on, and this one, so that's more of a pinky, and this one's more of a peach. And then I also got the bronze. So this is the only one I'd say I forgot about. I did use it for about 2 weeks continuously, and I forgot about it because I put it away and I just didn't think of reaching for it, which might tell you a bit really. And I think the reason I stopped reaching for it was because this bronze just needs to be built up too much. It's too much effort. It looks lovely once it's built up, but I have to build it and build it and build it because it's so light. There, you can see I've just rubbed my hand quite a lot, and that's all I am getting from it. So it is lovely, but it's way too much work. So I'm not going to say this one is as a yes. I did love it when I tried it on. I think it looks really nice. I like the highlighter as well, which I can show you. But the highlighter is lovely on the eyes actually. Really perfect shade for that inner corner and under the brow. But I don't think this is worth the money. These are very expensive. I just don't think you should have to work that hard to get a tiny bit of colour. But the blushes, completely different story. I absolutely adore these. So this one is probably, I'm not going to say I've got a favourite, but this is probably my second favourite. Okay, I will tell you favourites. This is my second favourite. So I love this pink. I think these look so natural and so beautiful. This is a very soft pink. It's not particularly deep. And used alongside this highlight, it is a perfect match for me. Just a lovely soft pink, and they just look glorious. They really do, and it looks good all day. When I wear this with the Dior foundation, it's one of my favourite finishes I've seen on my cheeks all year. I think it's absolutely stunning. So this one, 100% yes, highly recommend, love. But if you've got a deep skin tone, this might not show up on you, so keep that in mind. They are not pigmented at all, anything in this release, to be honest. So you do need to work a bit if you wanted to build that up, but for me it's just right. With my fair skin, it builds up to the right pink. Love that one. And if I swatch this one for you, the pink one, by the way, is called Dior Riviera. So now I'm swatching this peach one for you, and this one is called Diorette. I've gone back in with another swatch so you can see it a bit more. Again, this is definitely a summer sort of blush for me, a perfect summer blush. Love, love, love. If I show you that highlighter on top, it gives me that beautiful glowy peach that I adore in the summer. So 100% yes, absolutely love this. So when I did my full review of this whole Dior release, I didn't have this one, so I actually filmed a part 2 showing you this one because it came the next day. And this is the Lavender highlight with this very pale pink. This is the one called Dior Amour. There is the pink blush, and then there is the lilac. You can see it is very pale. That's how they look built up. These are stunning, especially this highlighter. I love a lilac highlighter. I think it is so good on my skin tone. But what might surprise you is, well, let me just show you the next one. I actually went back for this one after my second review, and that is this one. This one is called Wild Dior. So let me swatch these two. I wasn't going to get these because it looks so strong for my skin tone, but obviously trying them and seeing how they're just not that pigmented, I thought I might get away with it. So here is the blush. You can see it is definitely a lot more pigmented than any of the others. So if you've got a deeper skin tone, this could be a perfect choice. These shades are screaming for me winter, and it does look very strong, but if I tell you, that's exactly what I've got on today, but I've combined it with this. And this is my favourite blush of this month and one of my favourite combinations of the year quite easily. So what I've done today is I've got the pink blush all over the cheek, and then I've got the sort of plum colour on the top here. Just a little dab, and you can see it's not this alarming bright here. You could build it up to that, but for me, I don't put a lot of it. But I can go in about twice with my brush as long as I'm careful, and that's what I've got here on the top. And then I've used the lilac highlighter as my highlight. So I'm not using the gold. The gold then, if I was going to use it, would be used in the eyes. I'd use it in the inner corner and under the brow. I didn't need to do that today, but we'll talk about that when we go to the eye products. But this combination of these two, absolutely adore it. And I'm definitely going to play around and combine them more. In the summer, I'm looking forward to trying this one out maybe with the peach as well. So I feel like I shouldn't be telling you how good they all are. I should be telling you one's good, because it's very difficult when I'm not saying one's better than the other, because I'm tempting you then to get them all, which I feel guilty when I do that. But I just don't think you'll be unhappy with any of these. I think the only thing I would say is if you get this one on its own, you might be unhappy because you will feel you need to work with something else to really get it to work, which is what I've had to do. So if you just want to get one, I would definitely go with, one of these two. So that's if you've got my skin tone. If you have a darker skin tone, I would go with the plum. But I just think you'd be happy with any of them. I really do. I think they are absolutely beautiful. They are so perfecting as well. They just give such a lovely finish. Every time I look in the mirror when I use any of these, I just think, wow, my skin looks so good. I love it. Mature skin friendly, not emphasising texture and lines. It's a beautiful natural glow you get with the highlighters. I absolutely adore them. I forgot to mention the Kosas blushes, the Blush is Life, which I finally got around to testing this month, and have to admit being pretty underwhelmed with these ones. I picked up Euphoria and Blissed, and the Euphoria was just a little bit too sort of dark on me. I'll show you how that looks. So that's Euphoria. And then Blissed, which I thought looked lovely. Actually, I say I was unimpressed. I thought Blissed looked lovely once I got it on. The reason I was unimpressed is I thought these were going to be more similar to the Hourglass, and I just don't think they've got quite as much of a glow. They're just not that impressive. They're just okay. So It's certainly not a favourite, but they can definitely be used, and I'll definitely be using Bliss because I think it's a very pretty pop of pink. But I'm not sure about Euphoria. I think I'm going to have to donate that one to a friend because I don't think that colour suited me. But the formula didn't impress me much either, if I'm honest. So on to eyeshadows. So I've tested out quite a few this month, and I'm going to start with the trickiest one. This one from Chanel. This one is called Divination, and this is an all matte. Now if you saw me try this on, had very mixed comments on my review, and I'm not surprised because these colours just didn't suit me. Some people suggested I didn't apply it in the way that they advise. So if you look through my shorts videos, you will see I did do a video of me applying it exactly the way Chanel suggests, and it looked worse doing it that way. It's just these colours do not work well on me. But what I would also say is when I did that look, I used mostly the purples on the outer as my transition and in the outer V. And this purple, when I was trying to build it up in the outer V, was so tricky. It probably took me a good 10 minutes just to really get the blend of these two purples together. So really didn't like that at all. And then in that look, again, copying the Chanel website, I put this as the pop here, and I used that to line underneath. That was the look I went for. I thought it looked okay, but I have to tell you, it took a long time for me to get that look to look okay in my shorts video, and I didn't look in the mirror once that day and think I liked it. This is probably the biggest fail for me for an eyeshadow palette, possibly ever. I just do not like it. In fact, I never want to see it again, ever. So that was a bad one. And onto Tom Ford. I decided to pick up one Tom Ford. My first Tom Ford. I've never been that interested, but when I saw the shimmer on these two, this is the metallic mauve palette that recently launched, and when I saw these shimmers, they don't swatch that well actually, but they are beautiful shimmers, and I was very impressed with how this one looked. Now purples aren't really my thing. I wanted to test it for this, so I'd like to see some greens and some oranges. That would be what I would love. I love those autumnal shades. So if Tom Ford releases another quad which has something with formulas as good as these are not the cream to powder that I know he's very popular for. These are just powders. Very smooth, very buttery, very easy to work with, beautiful actually. So I was very impressed with the formula on these. And like I said, another colour story, I'd be tempted, but because these are so expensive, I won't get another one unless the colour story absolutely screams at me. This was more of a test, but certainly it gave a beautiful look, and I really did like the finish on this one. So this was very nice and a good experience for me. So it's taught me to try Tom Ford a bit more. So you may have seen recently I've uploaded, in fact today, this morning, I uploaded look 2 with this palette. And yesterday I uploaded look 1, and that is the Too Faced Aptly in Love, which launched about a month ago, I think, in the US, but we were only able to get it here in the UK in the last week. So I had to get this when I saw the colour story. So just look at this. If you know me, you'll see why I had to get this. It's just my shades, it really is. Apart from the reds, which I thought I wouldn't like, but I've tried the reds and I love the reds. In fact, in look 1, which you can find on my shorts, I tried the red and green together to create the apple effect, and I loved it. And the look I did yesterday was more of a caramel look, so I used these shades, but I also used this purple here to build up in the outer V. Absolutely glorious. Every formula I've tried, including the purples, super easy to blend out. But let me tell you, the most fun part about all of this is the second you open it, caramel apple smell, not baked apple, but it is a bit like baked apple actually. So as you're applying it, the smell of the baked apple comes up, especially as you're sort of swirling your brushes through the powders, and it's giving me autumn as I'm applying it on my face, because obviously it's giving me the autumnal look and shades, but it's given me the autumnal scent, and I just find the whole experience. I love the palette, I love the fact it's metal, I love the fact that it's got these apples, I love the shades, the formulas are exceptional, and the scent. This is one of the most fun, beautiful palettes I've used all year, so I was very tempted to put this one on my eyes and say it was my favourite, but I've only used it twice, so I can't really say it is, but I had to tell you it is. I know it's a favourite of the month, it absolutely is, and it's one of the favourites of the year. Absolutely adore it. So if you're tempted, I think that the pigment on these is brilliant. The formula is exceptional. I'll show you some actually. Let me show you that red and green shimmer which I used to create the apple look. So here's the red and then here's the green. I can smell that apple now as soon as I do that. I love it. But look at them, aren't they beautiful? If I just show you some of the mattes, they are very smooth and very pigmented. They really are fabulous. Look how they're swatching. Honestly, I'd give this palette 10 out of 10 all day long. It lasts, it just looks glorious all day. I love these shimmers, it is so good. So if you like a fun eyeshadow palette and you like an autumnal look, absolutely, you will not be disappointed when you get this, if you get this. I love it. But it will come as no surprise if you haven't guessed already which eyeshadow palette is on my eyes, and that is this absolute beauty from Natasha Denona, the I Need a Warm. Now, when I show you this inside, please don't judge the palette. I've got into quite a mess with it, so it looks awful. So just ignore that. That's my fault. I was trying to clean it because I've used it so much and I just seem to have made a bigger mess with it. So let's just ignore that side of it. But that's what I've got on my eyes today. I've got the Phenomena, which is the multi-chrome, this one here, over most of my lid. That is that stunning shifty colour. It's got the sort of pinks and greens and golds mixed in together, and then in the inner sort of corner of the eye I've got this one here, Elm. Let me tell you, there is not a colour, there is not a powder, there is not a shade, there is not a formula in this palette that I don't love. Absolutely all of them perfect, so easy to use. Today I actually used the new formula. This is the Flash Over. This is the cream formula, which is perfect. I've used that as my base. It's a fabulous base, and then you get the shimmers really sticking to it, so it emphasizes and also stops getting any fallout. So I'm really hoping Natasha will introduce more of these formulas because they are so good. I mean, I would quite like to have a whole palette in these and just use it in conjunction with shimmers, because it is that good a formula. But the new formulas, I think it was Snug and Homey, I think they're the two new. They are beautiful. So that's Snug and this one's Homey. My other two favourites are Push. Here's Push. I love this one. It's got almost like a peachy finish to it. This one is Dynamism. This one's a multi-chrome. They are all beautiful. Whichever one of these four you choose as your main look across the eye, it always looks perfect. For every single look I've been using the Pep shade, which is this one here, as my liner. I use Elm mostly for the inner corner, or I use this one here, which is Fancy. So these two work for inner corner and under the brow. And then the transition is either the one I used today, the cream to powder I've shown you, or any of these, depending on how I want to build it up. So I could start with these two lighter mattes as my first transition, build up a bit of depth in the inner corner with one of these two, or this one, sorry, I forgot this one. This one is beautiful as well. In fact, this is transition, and then this one for building up is beautiful. And then any of these shimmers for all over the lid, putting the same underneath as well. And every look I've created, every time it finishes and comes together, I just look in the mirror and oh wow, I love it. It suits my skin tone, it suits my eye colour. It's my perfect palette. So 100,000,000%. Yes, yes, yes. One other eye product I've tried this month is eyeliners from YSL. I picked these colours because they look so autumnal and they are really beautiful. I've tried these on as mostly the full look. I've actually done a video on that if you look through my shorts. So this one is Tangerine. I'll show you this one. This is lovely to use as a main liner if you're doing an autumnal look. It works well with green shadows or gold or browns actually. And this one is called, yeah, this one's called Tangerine. I think it is anyway, but on the pencil itself it doesn't say anything, it just says number 12 anyway. And these also have a brush on the end, so that's a very useful brush if you want to use it to really perfect that sort of winged out look, or just creating a line underneath. So this one is number 8, and that's the green. And this one is number 7, sort of deep blue. And this one is number 6, so this is a gold. Gold, I'd say this is the only shimmery one I got. So they've got shimmery ones and they've got the matte ones. They have exceptional longevity. This probably will be here till I go to bed now, which is a good reason to leave it last. So this is what I've actually got on the gold in my waterline today. So it goes very well with this sort of eye look. And this is probably the only formula I'd say I'm a bit disappointed with, the shimmer one, because it looks a bit grainy. It's not quite as high impact as, say, the Victoria Beckham gold, which I love. So I got it to see if it's as good, and it definitely isn't. But the others, the mattes, are lovely and they blend out very easily. They're very easy to work with. They really do last until you wash it off. They can be removed quite easily as long as you've got an oil-based cleanser. But they really do last, and they are beautiful actually. So I'm quite pleased to have these colours because they're very good for autumn. So I'm going to be keeping all of these out on my desk. Definitely very happy I got them. I don't think you need them if you've already got these shades, but for me, I don't think I've got this sort of tangerine shade, or maybe the Lisa Eldridge Forest is slightly similar to this green actually, and the blue is slightly similar to the Victoria Beckham in navy, and the gold. So when I say you don't have them, the tangerine I think is the only standout. But the green and the blue are slightly different. I think this blue is a slightly different, less deep shade to the Victoria Beckham navy. And the green, looking at it, is a little bit lighter than the Lisa Eldridge, I think. So I think they were worth trying. But if you don't have these shades, highly recommend these. So now finishing with lips, I got 2 lip liners from the Chanel release. These are both autumnal colours, and that's why I picked them up. There were actually 3 shades released. I only picked up these 2. This one is 198 and this one is 202. So I've got 198 on today. These are just very different shades. They last very well, very creamy, very easy to use. So I've used this formula before, but the shades are quite different. Again, I got them because they're autumnal. So I think they go, I'm not sure if they go that well with the lipstick I put on today, but when you're using it with a sort of paler shade, I think if you make the liner deeper rather than matching your lipstick, then they work. So a lot of these sort of autumnal browns, I'd say stick to browns actually, a lot of the autumnal brown shades coming out. So I picked up quite a few from the new NARS collection, for instance. They go very well with that. So again, it's a really good one to keep out, especially for this time of year when you're switching your shades up. So I really like them for that. They're quite different, quite unique shades I don't have in my collection. So I was quite pleased to add these to my collection for that reason. I don't know ones I'll be using all the time because they're so different, but I like having something I can match up for this sort of colour. And these also come with a brush on the end. So on to lipsticks, and I picked up 2 of the new ones from Givenchy. So these are Satin Lipsticks, very recently launched. Quite a few shades, I think it's about 8, maybe around that number anyway. This one, shade 341, a lovely autumn colour. I have actually tried this one on my channel. Beautiful colour. The packaging on these is sensational. Love them. Really glad I got them. I really enjoy the Givenchy formulas generally. I've tried a few of their lipsticks now. I like their lip glosses and their lipsticks. Beautiful. This is the other one I got, shade 114, so a bit of a lighter shade there. But really, really like both of these. And as you can see, I'm trying to pick autumn shades in all of these new releases. They're very comfortable on the lips, these lipsticks from Givenchy. Very, very comfortable, very hydrating, beautiful finish. Gives you a bit of a shine. I really do like them. And another one I picked up this month was the ones from NARS. These are so hard to handle because the magnets on them, look, they're so strong. They're crazy. You can't put them next to each other because they keep doing this. It does annoy me a bit. Anyway, I do love the packaging. So you have the NARS across the top here, which I think looks really good. So this is the new Explicit lip. They brought out tons of shades in these. So I'll show you the ones I got. This is Access. This is Rendezvous. This one is Dirty Talk. And my favourite out of the 4 I got is this one, Body Heat. I think this is a really good autumn shade. They're all good autumn shades, but this one's my favourite. They're all quite similar really, but I am just trying to pick autumn appropriate shades. But the formula on these is so comfortable, really a very exceptionally beautiful formula actually. I love them. They do tend to grip and last quite a long time. They go past 1 coffee for me, and I just really enjoy wearing them. There's no drying out of the lips at all. So I'm very complimentary to the lip. They're not exaggerating lines or anything like that. They are lovely lipsticks. So if you see any shades you like in that formula and you like a satin lip, I think you will love those. And the last one I picked up was two of these from Valentino. This is their Spike lipstick, and that's the one I'm wearing today. Not necessarily because it's my favourite formula. It's very different to the others though. But the packaging is just, I just get so much pleasure from just handling them, looking at them. I love them. They are just so beautiful. I know not everyone likes this Spike, but let me tell you, I mean, let me show you actually. I'm a little bit of the Valentino Spike. I'm a little bit of a fan. Give you an idea. And these will be going with it and staying there because they are so beautiful. I want to look at them every single time I walk into this room. So the packaging, 1,000,000% yes, but the formula is a very different type of formula. This has a very thin bullet, and this is a matte finish, but it's a very, very creamy matte. Here it is. This is the one I'm wearing today actually. This is number 134R. So you can see the way that this looks. I think that it's very flattering because it just sort of hides a lot of the lines and smooths them out and gives you a really smooth finish. But for a matte, it's so velvety and creamy. It's really comfortable. I've had this on now for well over an hour and it still feels hydrating, smooth, comfortable. I feel like I want to add a gloss purely because I'm so used to having shine as in the way it looks, but from a comfort point of view, it doesn't need it. So I wanted to just leave it so you can see exactly how it looks, and I think it looks lovely. So the other colour I got, this one, which is 134. So that's 123 and that's 134. Again, very autumn appropriate, beautiful shades, but just stunning, stunning. It's got the magnetic finish as well. So I think I'll put them there now with my other Valentino Spike. And lastly, just quickly want to show you some hair products that, well, one hair product. This is from Colour Wow. I've been using Colour Wow, this one here actually, the Dream Coat. I've been using this for over a year now, every time I wash my hair pretty much. I know you're supposed to use it every third wash, but I find as long as I use a really good clarifying sort of shampoo to remove everything, that I can get away with using this all the time. And this stops my hair being frizzy. If you've seen my hair when it's curly, I've got a really strong natural curl. So I straighten my hair using the Dyson Air Straight, another winning product for me this year. And I use this every time, and this, if I forget to use this, I have a frizzy hair all week. If I remember to use this, I don't. So this has been one of my favourite products ever. So that's just, that I'm not showing you that as a new one, but this one is brand new to me from the same brand, Colour Wow, and this is called their Money Mist. I also got the Money Mask. It was the mask I first saw advertised. The mask is very good, but the mist even more so. So this gives you a conditioning mist. It's a very fine mist as well when you spray it. You don't need a lot, but what I've noticed most specifically with this, I try and stretch my wash day to about day 7 if I can for the health of my hair. And especially this time of year when it's humid, I struggle with that, and I've been getting to sort of day 5 and thinking I have to wash. But since I got this, I've been able to get to day 7 and still feel I've got this sort of shine and healthy hair. I mean, your hair could look healthier, but trust me, this is healthy for me, this is shiny for me. And I just feel every time I run my Air Straight through it, I see the shine, I see the healthiness, and it feels soft. And that's from using this. So this combination has become a winner for me. So Colour Wow is clearly a product that works well for me, because usually I don't like anything that's a leave-in product, leave-in conditioners or anything this, and they also protect from heat. But yeah, any sort of leave-in conditioner always makes my hair feel heavy, dirty, tacky, and I need to wash it to get it off within a few days. I've never got on with any of them, even the ones people rave about. But this one I can, so highly recommend trying this one. I really do love it. So that's the Money Mist from Colour Wow. And then lastly, I've only tried one new fragrance this month, and that is this new one from YSL. You might be looking at this thinking it's not new, but it is. So the YSL Libre, it's the same sort of packaging, but slightly more glammed up, I think, looking at that. Actually, I've just got my bottle of the original, and they're actually the same. What's different is the colour of the perfume and the fragrance. So I'll just tell you the brief description. This is called Flowers and Flames Libre. This is a new sultry floral blast, a sexy warm interpretation of Libre, deliberately sensual and floral. The hot and powerful lily from the desert blends with the solar and creamy cocoa palm tree. flower for a blazing yet comforting scent. So I looked up the notes to see what the differences are. I'll actually pop them up on the screen for you so you can compare the two. I'll put one either side of me now so you can see them. So the main differences are, top notes are both white floral, second notes are both citrus, third note on the new one is vanilla, and the third note on the original is lavender. And the new perfume then has a green note, which the original doesn't have. It had aromatic. It also has fresh and spicy and soft and spicy. And that's the key difference. This one is a slightly spicier version. That's what it is. It's a sort of slightly deeper, more sensual, like it says, spicy difference. That is the key difference. So I think for me, Libre is one of my all-time favourite perfumes ever. But now that I've tried this one, I'd say I still like the other one as much, but I like them, they're probably equal. And this one would be more of my sort of spring summer, and this would be my autumn winter, because it's got that more sort of deep spicy that you'd reach for in the autumn. I'm not very good at describing fragrances, as you can probably tell, but if you're a fan of Libre and you like to switch it up a little bit, I think this is perfect. I absolutely adore it. So love this one, and I'll definitely be using this one quite a lot. And this is one of the top perfumes my husband notices on me. Second I put either of these on, straight away he'll say, oh, you smell good. And it's got a really good throw, hasn't it? And it really does last if you know this one. So yeah, really enjoyed this new one from YSL. So that is everything. I've gone through everything. I didn't try it on and show you my favourites, which I've done in the past. And in my last video, I tried it on and I actually filmed in the summer room. I've just got so much, I had so much to talk about. I just wanted to keep it simple today. So I really hope that that's okay with you. And also I've just got so much content, so much going out, and I'm going on holiday next week. So I need to try and get through these videos without the mammoth edit, which is involved with trying on and reviewing at the same time. So hope you understand that and you're happy with this format. And I hope it's been helpful to you. I would love to hear from you. Have you tried any of these things throughout the month, and what are your thoughts? Or maybe you're thinking of picking some of them up. Please do discuss with everyone down below. It's always very helpful for everyone to chat about this, but most of all, I love to chat with you and hear your thoughts on everything, whether it's what I've tried on today or some things maybe I didn't try on. So I'd love to hear from you. And I really hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have. It's been a fabulous month once again in the makeup world. Has been all year, to be fair, but it's been another really good month. The eyeshadows are probably my standouts, and the Dior release, the Dior foundation, contour and blushes, and then the eyeshadow from Too Faced and from Natasha Denona. Huge standouts. Standouts of the year, standouts of the month. Anyway, I'd love to hear from you, and I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I really do hope that if you're not subscribed, you do subscribe if you enjoyed it, and if you're already subscribed, thank you so much. Honestly, I really do appreciate you all, and I hope to see you again for my next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.